The opinions and views expressed in the following program are those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Monday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. It's a new week, and we are right here with you. As always, we are brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. I'm going to go ahead and put their logo in the top right corner so you know where to go if you're in the market for a new or used vehicle. It's our buddies over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, so you don't have to. We try to do the same thing on this show every single day, and we thank them for their constant support and sponsorship of Running Point since day one. Got a good show for you today. We are done within the vault for the fall sports. We are going to dive back into the vault today. We're going to go into our winter sports player profiles and relive some of the great ones that we were able to get in the winter. We're going to start with some postseason award winners today. We're going to go to our girls basketball player of the year in JC Mullen. We're going to hear what her interview was like, relive her player profile from the winter, and then we're also going to relive the player profile that we did from our offensive player of the year this season, which was Abby Davidson from Salem, who has started her journey as a YSU Penguin as well this year. So going to have some fun with that. We're also going to talk about some of the things that went on over the weekend. The NABF World Series for the 16U and 14U has been completed, and guess what? Both age divisions have Class B teams, Youngstown area teams, as champions. Let's just rewind back to yesterday, the semifinals for both for the 16U. Creekside just absolutely wrecked the Legend Athletics team, 16-1 in the semifinals yesterday. I almost said last night. Yesterday, 16-1. Creekside just barrels through the semifinals, and then a very hot Avalanche team that was winning, obviously won the 16U NABF championship, and then went through and got all the way to the semifinals. Really was dominating people in the NABF World Series until this point. They finally get cooled off by, I'm going to say here, the BHM Buckeyes. The pitching, it was a pitcher's duel, 1-0. Avalanche falls in the semifinals, but Creekside did get there. In the 14U championship, the Astro Falcons won 11-7 over the Avalanche. That's an all Class B, I guess you could say all YSN championship, which is what we love to see. We talk about all the time in the high school season how much exciting it is to get an all YSN championship, whether it be in the regionals or the districts. But we had the pleasure of having a all Class B 14U NABF championship, and it paid off. 11-7, the Astro Falcons, who won the 14U championship series, they win the NABF World Series to complete a wonderful summer for that group. And the future is very, very bright for the Astro Falcons. No shocker there, as the 14U kids win both Class B and the NABF World Series, 11-7, the final score over the Avalanche. So Creekside, with their 16-1 victory, set up the game with the BHM Buckeyes off of their 1-0 victory over the Avalanche. And I think everyone knew the way that BHM team was able to control the Avalanche's offense. This was going to be a pitcher's duel too. Like, the Creekside was probably not going to score 16 runs against the Buckeyes. They didn't. but they scored just enough. 3-2. Creekside gets the win, and they win your 16U NABF championship. Congratulations to Creekside Fitness. I know the Class B season did not end the way they wanted to, really, but they had a great regular season in Class B baseball, and they finished off their summer on a hot note with a 3-2 win over BHM Buckeyes to claim the NABF World Series championship. What a great weekend. I guess you could say an extended weekend at Scene Park the NABF was for the 16U and 14U. I mean, we talk about a total large amount of games from Thursday to Sunday, and it all culminated in, like I said, 2 Class B teams taking away the championship, proving once again why baseball is so good in the Youngstown area. We do it right, we do it well, we do it great, and anytime we get the chance to prove that in front of the world, this is a World Series, right? This isn't just a local rinky-dink tournament. Like, this is a World Series, and we got to prove to everybody involved that Youngstown does it best. There's no arguing that. The NABF Senior World Series, which is 18U, will go on this extended weekend. So our baseball coverage is not done yet. Thursday to Sunday, we'll have one more round with the NABF. And if Thursday is too long to wait, don't worry. We have the Palomino coming to Scene Park on tonight, actually. Tonight is going to have 2 games down there, and it's going to go on from tonight up until, I believe, Wednesday, as we go in from Palomino to the NABF World Series. So no worries at all. If you're still itching for baseball, we have you covered this week. We do have also tonight, Little League Softball is making its return. The 10U still has to wrap up their district tournament. So tonight, Eric Hughes will be down at the Field of Dreams. Austintown will play Boardman at 6 o'clock. That'll be an elimination game. Remember, that was supposed to happen a while ago. They were way behind schedule, but weather and roster size and some other commitments because of the weather that pushed everything back has made that tournament bonkers crazy. And they're finally going to be able to get together tonight and play. Austintown versus Boardman 10U will go on tonight at 6 at the Field of Dreams. Eric Hughes will be on the call there, S2. And the winner of that will go on to play Canfield in the championship. Just like the other district in 12U, if Canfield wins tonight, they are crowned your district champions. They're going to state. And if the winner of Boardman Austintown, if they win tonight, then they will go to an if necessary game tomorrow night at the Field of Dreams. Down there at the Class B baseball, not Class B, at Scene Park for Palomino baseball, we're going to have Matt Marr and Jordan Barber both on the call down there. It's going to be a 6 o'clock and 8:15 game, both on Scene 1. So we have 4 games on the network tonight, 10U softball and 18U Palomino baseball. I also want to give a shout out to Boardman 12U baseball that is still alive in the state tournament. They won their first game on Saturday, and it was a rock show. I mean, remember, they rolled through the district, so everyone expected them to do really well in state. They won their first game 10-0. They lost last night to Hamilton, a very good Hamilton team that's been a thorn in a lot of our baseball teams' sides. I mean, that's someone that you really have to get past. When you're going into a state tournament, you know it, they're going to be there. And they were there last night. They beat Boardman 10-0, but Boardman still has a chance to get out of the double elimination tournament, make their way back to the championship. And like softball and state, things will change just slightly in state and regional and obviously the World Series. Dang. Because there is no if necessary game. So if you make it out of the losers bracket into the championship, that turns into a winner take all. I never really liked that. I mean, I get why they do it in the World Series because, TV deals and ESPN has to make sure they're scheduling it right. But, man, you're allowed a loss unless you make it to the championship game. Then it's like, hey, you can't lose. So that kind of stinks. There's no advantage for going through the bracket undefeated, which I always thought was kind of silly. So I wish they would bring back the if necessary game, because if you go through the bracket undefeated, you should have to have that safety net of a loss just like everybody else does. But that's not the reality. The reality is that Boardman makes it to the championship out of the losers bracket. They will be 1 win away from going to regionals. That's all it takes. One night, one good night. So Boardman back in action today to try to stay alive in state. We will stay up to date on that. You can follow it on Game Changer. Their team has a Game Changer as well. And we'll have a recap for you after the game is over. I want to remind everybody that softball is not done either. Austintown 12U softball still looking forward to their regionals, which will start next week. So they won state. They're going to regionals. And then, of course, the other 8 divisions that Boardman won as well will also be in the state tournament. And we have 10U Poland going to state as well. So all of that stuff coming up. We'll try to stay as updated as possible and get you recaps of all those games that go on in state. But it's exciting to see all these young athletes of the Youngstown area really go to the next level and compete in the next step. And we have softball regionals, and hopefully in the next week we can see that we have baseball regionals too, as they're obviously one step behind softball. So that's all going to be really fun to kind of see how it winds down. We have Palomino baseball the next 3 days. We have NABF World Series over the extended weekend. Our baseball coverage is not done. Baseball season on YSN goes from March all the way to August. So there's no rest for the weary. I'll tell you that much. So we're hunkering down, we're doing it, and we're getting it done down there at Bobstein Park tonight. Like I said, Matt Marr and Jake Barber will be on the call tonight down there at Bobstein Park. Eric Hughes will be on the call tonight at the Field of Dreams for 10U softball. So that's all that's going on right now, and that's our kind of your recap of everything that's going on today on the network. So with that being said, what we're going to do is we're going to dive into the vault, continue our series here on Running Point as we get through the month of July by diving into the vault, reliving some of the great player profiles that we were able to get over the 2022-2023 school year. We had a great time reliving some fall sports memories, going down memory lane with volleyball and football players, and reliving some of those great player profiles that we were able to get. Reminder that any of those profiles and all the profiles we do are available on our website and on our YouTube page. We're not Disney. We don't take things out of the vault and then put them back in so you can't see them forever. So don't worry. This is not something that, if you miss, you're never going to be able to see this profile again. This is just us reliving good memories with you. So that's all this is. And we are going to continue to dive into the vault with winter sports, and then we'll do a couple of spring sports ones here too, before we hop on to brand new season previews of fall sports. By the way, over the weekend, reached out to a lot of coaches, and they're all excited. And like I predicted, they are going to hit the ground running on these season previews right around the first week of August, when their tryouts are done, their rosters are set. They'll come on, they'll talk about their team, they'll talk about their season and what they expect from it. So we got a lot of balls in motion and a lot of coaches that are so excited to come and talk about their team. Some new coaches and some old coaches that have been there for a while, some legendary coaches. We have it all on YSN coming up just around the corner. I mean, we are now just barely under a month until football and volleyball start. It is the 17th, right? Week 1 of football is August 18th. Game 1 of volleyball is August 19th. So we are this is the last day before it's a month. Tomorrow is that month checkpoint before fall sports begin. So we're excited. We're living for it. But before we get to that, we do want to relive some of the great moments and memories that we made in the 2022-2023 school year. We're going to go in today into the vault with the 2 of the postseason award winners in the girls basketball side for fall sports. We're going to start with our 2022-2023 basketballs, both years. Our YSN player of the year in Casey Mullen from Springfield. Springfield was able to go all the way to the state tournament. We had fun covering them. And Casey Mullen was our player of the year. So here's our interview with her that happened earlier this winter. Anthony Harwig here with a Springfield girls basketball player profile. I am joined by JC Mullen, one of the leaders of this Tigers team. JC, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, you've been a staple for this team for a while, but now it seems like you've taken the next step in responsibility and leadership. What's that kind of been like this year, knowing that there's more responsibilities on your shoulder to be not just a statistical leader, but also an energetic leader and an emotional one as well?
I think that like coming up being a senior this year, it gives a lot of our seniors a lot of responsibility, but I feel like it's something that we don't really need like together as a team. I feel like we have a lot of vocal leaders coming from the younger kids too, and energy wise. So I think it just in hard games and hard times, we might need a bit of like that just spurt of energy or the kind of vocal leader, but I don't feel like it's something that we've been lacking.
You've had the chance to play with so many great seniors in your career, and you've been able to watch them lead this team. Who are some of the leaders that you've had in your past that have taught you what it means to be a leader and helped you get to where you are now?
I think the seniors that we've had the past couple of years have really they've been helpful, and they've kind of showed like what responsibilities you have, especially when you're a senior. So I think going back to them, they've kind of just paved the way for the responsibilities that you need to take on when you are a senior.
What were the feelings like this summer when the reality kind of dawned on you that you were a senior now, and those responsibilities were going to be on your shoulder, and now you had to be the one that leads the team?
It was just funny. I realized, I mean, it's your last season in high school, so basically you just have to realize that you have to have fun. And I think one of the things that, especially in my game, that I've improved this year is just having more energy. So I think coming into the off season, I knew that I was going to try to bring more energy than I have in previous years.
Senior year brings a lot of last first game, last game against this team, last time you're able to play on that home court. How have you handled the emotions that come with all these last times that senior year brings?
I don't think anything's been too emotional yet. We have senior night on Thursday, so I think that'll probably start a few of it. But I'm just trying to enjoy the last season that I get with all these younger kids, and so I'm gonna try to enjoy it and not be too sad about it ending.
In the past, senior nights have always been like the last home game. That's always going to be senior night. Now we start to see more and more teams have it, a little bit past the midpoint, but you still got games to go. What do you think that's going to be like, knowing that it's senior night and having to feel all those emotions, but also knowing you still got games left, you still got plenty of season left as well?
I think it's going to help a lot with our emotional side of it, just because us knowing that it's not the last time ever that we're going to play here is definitely it's going to calm us down a little bit. And knowing that like we still have a bunch of season left to play, I think it'll just help everyone come to terms with, it is your senior year, but you've still got a lot of time left.
Let's rewind to last year. You guys win a district championship, head down to Perry for the regionals. Probably, the first exposure to that stage for this team. What was that like, and how much did you take from that into this year and trying to get back there?
I think like collectively as a team, we take a lot of that into how we want to play and the competition level that later in the season we'll be getting up against. One of the motivators has definitely been to get back there, to do it again, and obviously have a little bit better of an outcome. So I think it's just been a huge motivation seeing that we have the potential, and now we got to work on it every day in order to keep working to get back there.
How hungry did falling short at regionals make you to get back and to make this season one where you can get back to that stage?
Yeah, it was a big motivation. I know for me, it was something that it was like a surreal feeling knowing that it was, the first team in a while that's been there. And we fell pretty short in that regional game. So it's definitely something that I know I and the rest of our team have been really looking forward to getting back to.
How have you shared that with some of the new faces on this team, or the players that are stepping into a varsity role, a bigger varsity role? Share that hunger that maybe they didn't get from playing in that game last year, that like, hey, this is the standard that we need to meet.
Luckily, we only lost 2 seniors last year, so majority of our players they were able to play in that regional game. So I think that most of them, they know the importance of it, but I think like they also realize that, you know, especially for the older kids, it could be the last time. It could be the last time with this group. I think just realizing that it's kind of like it's a one shot this year that we got to get it done. I think that really motivates people.
As we keep talking about you being a senior and you being a leader, one of the hallmarks of seniors is how they leave the program. And that's why we ask all of the seniors, who were the seniors of the past that led you? What are you doing to make sure that you leave your legacy and you make sure that this program is sustained after you graduate?
I think coming up the last year and this year, the atmosphere of the energy has changed, which is something that new coaching and a lot of new players brought in. I think that's one thing that we can leave with this team is that, you know, you can have off nights, you can have rough nights, but your team's going to surround you, and the energy that will be in the gym every night is it's going to get you through it.
Next year, when we're interviewing the new leaders of this team and we ask them maybe what JC Mullen taught them and what they took away from being one of your teammates, what would you hope the answer would be to that?
Probably just have fun. I try to make things as, you know, especially the last season, just I hope they just had fun.
You talked about new coaches. Obviously, John Mattizi came in last year and made a lot of changes to this team. What's it been like, having him at the helm of this program, and what have you learned from Coach Mattizi?
I think it's really good for this program. Both the Mattizis put in a lot of time, and you could tell that they're really dedicated to it, and they have the best the best plan for the game in play. Something I've learned is that they're both really dedicated to the program. So it's amazing to see how an outside force can affect, you know, the whole team and the program so much.
You look at that coaching family, and obviously Coach Mattizi's father did so much, and he's still doing so much. Does that carry a little bit of respect, knowing that him and his brothers and his dad all really are really good coaches, and they all know kind of what they're talking about?
Yeah, it definitely does, especially the first, I think, freshman and sophomore year. Coach Mattizi was at McDonald, and they had a really strong team. So I think him coming in here and being able to show us, like, you know, I know what I'm talking about, and having the family to back it up, it puts a lot of respect on them.
You've played McDonald twice now this year, so we can ask this. Be honest, does your Coach Mattizi get a little bit more fired up for that game, knowing that his dad's on the other side?
I think you have to. I think the competition level is just, I know for me personally, I would have to if I was playing against my dad. I think he does really well not to show it, but we were asking him before the game, and he said he tries to just, you know, keep it as like a regular league game and everything.
That might be a game that he gets fired up about. What about you? Who are some teams that you really like to play and you really get energetic when you see them on the other side of the floor?
I think the two of the tough teams in our league, Waterloo and Western Reserve, are some of our motivators. When we play them, you got to get fired up, or you're not going to have a good night when you go against those two teams.
And we know that you play a lot of travel basketball, AAU. You have the chance to play with so many great athletes in your own right in the off season. Who's your best friend that doesn't wear the Springfield uniform?
I'll probably say Sophia Hook is the best player that I play with in the off season. Seeing what she's able to do in Brookfield and with her own team, it's crazy. She's a kid that she works hard every night, and it shows.
What is, playing with so many great players on your team in the offseason and then playing against so much good talent in the offseason really do for you as a player? And how has it helped you grow throughout your career?
I think not only just the practice makes you better, it teaches you how to play with different kids who have different backgrounds and everything. So it'll help when you're playing with some of the younger kids that are on your team. Just being able to get that experience of how other players do play and how they think about things, it helps you become a better teammate.
watching this team already this year, we can tell there's a little bit more of physicality to them. Like you're a little bit more mean this year. You'll push people around a little bit. Do you think that's one of the main things that you talked about this year, trying to be more physical with every team you play?
Yeah, it definitely was. I feel like last year we lacked that a little bit, and in the high intensity physical games, it definitely did show. So this year we worked on coming out stronger and just overall, being stronger together.
What was that like for you, trying to build a physical mindset and trying to always be in that attack aggressive mentality every night on the floor?
I feel like it's something that it takes a lot of work to just try to be physical, like for the entirety of the game. But when you look back at it, it's something that really does pay off. So I think the motivation is, it's hard right now, but in the end, it's gonna work towards your favor.
Obviously, with senior year, we have to talk about your future too, some of the future plans that you have. What are some goals that you see yourself accomplishing in the next few years after high school, where you want to see yourself?
I'm not really sure where I'm looking to go to school yet, but I am looking to just further my education and really make that one of my main focuses. And I'm going to try to play wherever I go. So I think education is definitely number one, and just being able to get through that.
When you think about kind of what education you want to go into and what things you want to do you have anywhere that you're leaning of what you want to start learning about in college?
Every school that I've toured, it's either been accounting in the business management or engineering.
All right, so we talk a lot about athletes and the inspiration on the court. Who has been some of your inspirations in the school world and some of the teachers that have really helped you along the way and really taught you how to be a better student?
I think coming from a small school, especially in this area, the school is just so connected. I don't think anyone in particular you can put the not the blame, but like the credit to. I think just coming from this small school, the sense of community that everyone is able to bring, that's something that will stick with you.
Let's get to know you a little bit off the floor with some rapid fire questions before we let you out of here. First one I got for you is, if you could have any animal as a pet, no matter like exotic, doesn't matter, what animal would you want to have?
I've always wanted a pig since I was a kid, but I don't have one, so that's got to be it.
Like, since you've always wanted, have you already picked out a name for a pig that if you get it, like, I know I'm gonna name it this?
I haven't, but I think I gotta find one out.
All right, what is some of the New Year's resolutions you had, or the things that you want to do a little bit better into 2023, since we're just barely into the new year?
Definitely I'm trying to get more focused on the college journey and just, improving my education. Obviously, we have some small basketball goals and just finishing the season off, but I think those are definitely main two.
I know you're an athlete and you like to eat healthy and keep your body right, but what are some desserts that kind of catch your sweet tooth every now and then?
Mm. Probably ice cream. Yeah, I really like ice cream. It's definitely one of my favorites.
Do you have a favorite flavor?
Cookie dough.
There you go. Where? Like Handles? Are we talking Briarwood? Where's the best ice cream?
It's definitely Handles. Yeah.
Got it. What makes you proud to be a Springfield Tiger and proud to represent that school system?
Once again, I think it's just the sense of community and how it just brings everyone together is something that it's something that you're proud to be a part of in the moment, and then even after, that like you came from a small community, that they're gonna have your back.
If we gave you a time machine, would you want to go forward in time or would you want to go back into the past?
I would have to say back in the past.
Where would you want to go? Like, what time period would be cool to go check out?
I feel like maybe the 90s or like the late 80s would be cool, just to see how different the culture was, especially for like when my parents grew up.
All right. If you could have a dinner with anybody, living or dead, any celebrity, it could be a celebrity, it could be someone that maybe it's this local that you haven't had the chance to get to know. Who would you want to have a dinner with?
Oh, that's a good one. I would probably say, it's a weird answer, Post Malone. He's definitely my favorite artist, so I think that would just be cool.
All right, you get one question with him though. What's the one thing you would want to know if you got one question with Post Malone?
Probably just, what started it all. What made you have the realization that that's what I'm gonna do, and even if it's a long shot, what's the motivation?
I'm going to flip that on you. What started it all for you? When did you start taking basketball really seriously and you started to realize that you had a really big love for the sport?
I think it started when I was really young. My older sister, she's 4 years older than me. My dad would take me to their practices and stuff, and just being able to see what they're doing. And I know that some of the times they would let me do the drills with them. I think that's really where it started. Just, getting the early on experience, that definitely, set the stage for basketball for me.
All right, JC, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to shout out your support system, all the people that have been there for you throughout your career, and all the people that you couldn't do this without.
Definitely just my family and my friends, especially my parents and my sisters and grandparents and everything like that.
All right, JC, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We wish you the best of luck going forward, and we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
JC Mullen from the Vault, our YSN Player of the Year in girls basketball. Definitely earned it. Springfield went all the way to the state semifinals. First time since McDonald went that we had a YSN team in state in Dayton, and we were proud to follow them all the way. And we did that. We did that game, and even though they fell short in the state semis, nothing more than incredible seeing Springfield have the run they did. JC was a big reason why. They had other senior leaders as well. And of course, when we get closer to winter, we're going to talk about what they can do to reload and get back to where they were. That's going to be exciting. Basketball season is always exciting, and we're excited to jump into the Vault and relive some of the greatness of basketball season. Let's take a break, and when we get back, we'll go back into the Vault with another postseason award winner here at YSN from the girls basketball side. We'll hear what our interview is like with Abby Davidson from the Winter, our Offensive Player of the Year. That's when we get back on Running Point, brought to you as always by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
21 News delivers the news as it happens, using the latest technology from where it happens.
Live here outside the Mahoney County.
On air, online,
Wednesday afternoon weather update.
Very dangerous.
and on the 21 News social media platforms.
I'm on the road right now.
21 News, the Valley's only locally owned source for trusted news since 1953.
As fine as the eye can see, the finest hardwoods from the finest trees. Made for your home and within your means, Baird Brothers will help fulfill your dreams. Let life and light come shining through in quiet morns. And heavy traffic, too. Find your easy-to-afford fine hardwood floors and doors and more at BairdBrothers.com.
Every customer has a story, and at Greenwood Chevrolet, we are committed to making sure it ends with you in the right vehicle. I get to be part of somebody's adventure, whether it's buying a car for the first time, helping them get approved, or finding the perfect car for their budget. I'm proud that people trust me with their finances. They trust me to take care of them, and they trust me with their story. I'm Tracy, and I'm ready to go the extra mile for you, only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Locally owned and operated, Sheely's relaxed shopping experience means browsing and lounging is always encouraged.
Find Flex Deal and more at Sheely's Furniture and Appliance, because the best things in life happen at home.
How lucky are we to have not one, but two 18-hole Donald Ross Championship golf courses right here in our backyards. Mill Creek Golf Course was selected by Golf Week as one of America's 30 best municipal courses, continuing to challenge golfers of all levels and featuring golf instruction by PGA professionals, a state-of-the-art practice range, a PGA of America recognized pro shop, kids programs, and a relaxing grill room for a memorable golf experience. For more information or to schedule a tee time, visit millcreekmetroparks.org.
Fall is in the air. The kids are back to school, crowds are cheering for the home team, and Myers Family Insurance is prepped for another crazy Medicare season. Every year there's changes, some big, some small, so it's important to have a conversation to make sure your plan is going to meet your expectations for the coming year. Give our team a call today to schedule your annual review.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance or visit us on the web. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com.
Going from mindful to mindful sometimes requires a helping, healing hand. Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness offers a continuum of mental health and wellness care. At Insight, we're changing the way you receive counseling and wellness services with experienced licensed clinicians and expertly trained wellness staff. With 4 locations in Mahoning and Columbiana County, along with telehealth services, Insight offers clients quick access to care when they need it. Transform your mental health and wellness at Insight Clinical Counseling and Wellness.
And welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. And electric is here. Are you ready for it? Whether you're looking for a truck or something smaller, there is a Chevy EV out there for you. Explore Chevrolet's line of current and upcoming EVs at greenwoodchevrolet.com/greenwood-EV. Greenwood, electric is here. Rethink, recharge, redefine. Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown takes care of all your electric vehicle needs. And you can check them out at greenwoodchevrolet.com. They go the extra mile for you. We try to do the same here on this show every single day. And we thank them for being a constant sponsor and our presenting sponsor of Running Point since day one. Through all the twists, turns, bends that this show has had, they've never lost faith in what this show is and what this show can be. So we strive to get better every day for the great sponsors like Greenwood Chevrolet that believe in us. We are going to continue into the vault to reliving some of the great player profiles that we were able to get during the winter sports season. We're going to go back into another postseason award winner from the basketball side of things. Girls basketball offensive player of the year last year was Abby Davidson from Salem, and there was no one that deserved it more. Abby Davidson dazzled every single day when she got on the court. Someone that never stopped working, was in the court from the moment that she could get on the court last season, probably still went on the court from the moment they lost in the district championship. And now, of course, is starting her work towards the YSU Penguins. I already saw their preseason workouts, and she was definitely a part of them in the gym with the YSU Penguins. So going a lot of places, but let's reflect on where she was in Salem and the great senior campaign that she had. Here's another trip into the vault with Salem's Abby Davidson. First basketball player profile of the season, and we are joined from Salem senior Abby Davidson. Abby, thank you so much for taking the time to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Congratulations, number 1 in the season, leading things off. No pressure at all. I feel like the first thing we should start with is your last first home game. What did that feel like? What were some of the emotions going through your head when you walked out on the court and you realized, like, this is it, this is your last ride?
Right. There was a lot of emotion from like the good and the bad, and just walking out on the court and like seeing the stands compared to this year, compared to last year, like just the support from the community was unbelievable. Like we knew it was going to be a good turnout coming from like how far we made it last season. And so there was just a lot of emotions, but after we got the first jitters out, it was good.
Like you said, you made it far last season. Talk about this off season, the summer with these girls, and how hungry this program was to stay where they were last year and try to get another shot at the regional championship.
Right. So over the summer, there was we went to Sherridsville and we went to Cedar Point, and there were some things like, even personally, that I was like, wow, this is mentally strong. Like, this is tough. And we just knew we lost 5 seniors that contributed a lot to our team. And we just had some young girls who are now juniors that knew they had to step up and play their role. And a lot of it just took a lot of leadership from myself and the other 2 seniors, and we just knew what we had to get into their heads and teach them about the game, like mentally and physically.
All right, what were some things that you kind of got started right from the jump with those new players, the new faces on the varsity team? What were some of the first things that you thought they had to kind of learn and be prepared for on the varsity level?
Just the urgency we need. Coach Hamilton holds us to a really high standard. Like, for example, last night we beat Alliance by 30, but still at the end of the game, there was just like, it wasn't like, great, good job, girls. Like, there was just still so many like things that we needed to work on. And she was like, I'm not trying to be rude, but like, this is just the standard we hold you at. And it was tough at first. At first, I was like, this is going to be a lot of work, but they really just improved and showed us, like, they just stepped up and knew what we needed from them.
How has being coached like that and being held to that high standard and not being okay with a 30-point victory helped you, not just in basketball, but I'm sure like in everything else that you do in life, being, really high standards and setting the bar high for yourself?
Right. It honestly started just growing up like a big family. My parents always held me to a high standard, and along with my other siblings. So once coach came in here and set the standard, it wasn't anything I didn't expect from her. She's a great coach. She's a great person off the court too. So I knew what to expect from her. And sometimes I'm like, wow, this is a little bit more than I would have expected. But as you can tell from last year, it took us a long way. So honestly, after one of our scrimmages, coach and I had a talk, and we were like, she was like, what could we possibly do better? And I was like, we need to be more disciplined. And like, there's always room for discipline. So there's nothing better than to have a coach like that and a team to be disciplined.
What about like you going into your senior leadership year and being a senior leader and trying to balance, holding those girls to a high standard that are below you, but also, having a little bit of fun with your senior season and letting loose a little bit. How have you balanced that? Because you gotta have your last ride, but you also do want to be disciplined and do want to be a good senior leader.
Right. So it started off just like the season, like we just did simple things. Like we were like, all right, let's get these crazy team shoes and just like simple stuff like that. And at practices, that is something we also like harp on here at Salem, like just energy and the culture and stuff like that, just to, like, have fun. Like some of our practice film is just crazy. And there'll be days like if we have a really good practice, we'll have some fun at practice for like 30 minutes or something just to even things out. It can't always be like full go all the time because as student athletes, we get mentally drained and stuff like that. So we just do a lot of little team stuff, like team Thanksgiving. We'll all cook a dinner. Gosh, that's crazy. But yeah, just little activities. That's how we balance it.
You opened the door. What did you cook for Thanksgiving? What was your dinner that you had responsibility for?
Stuffing. And I would have to say last year it turned out a lot better than this year. We were eating like literally just hardened bread this year. It was so bad, but
last year we talked to you a lot about your knee coming off the injury and trusting yourself with it. What does it feel like this year to kind of be a little bit more healthy coming into the season and not having to really worry about that mental block anymore?
Right. So I was trying to tell my parents and both my soccer and Coach Hamilton all year. I was like, I'm ready to go. I've strengthened my knee. Like everything's good to go. And they're like, man, that leg's valuable. Like we can't be risking it. Like just stay in the brace. And so literally the day of our first game, I went back up to Dr. Joseph and I was like, I'm practicing without it. Like I feel great. At this point, I just feel like it's holding me back. And he was like, I mean, your leg looks great. Like you're all strengthened and everything. And so first game we came out against Talland, I was nervous. I was like, great, watch I hurt my leg or something. But come second game, third game, my confidence is just right back up. And I went home after the game last night. I was talking to my dad. I was like, it is crazy how much more I feel like I can move without that thing on my leg.
Do you think the brace was a little bit of a mental block? Like you have that thing always reminding you that your knee is weak, so you kind of feeling like it is, even though it's not?
Right. And even like I just felt like I couldn't do as much. And coach would always tell me, they can't stop you, Abby, they can't stop you. But it's just like, it was so mental. Like there was games where like, I'd be like, man, I don't even want to play right now because like my leg, I just couldn't move. I couldn't play defense as good as I know I can. I couldn't like make moves to the basket as fast as I could. And so it's just like, I feel so much more relief now that it's off.
Came off a game last night, so we can use this as a little bit of a post-game interview too. I mean, 17 points led the team. What was working so well for you last night?
Honestly, I have to give it to my teammates. I mean, we all busted our butts, and just defense. Our transition game was really good last night, and that's something we like harp on this year. We're more of an offensive team this year, but obviously we still focus on defense. That's just our culture here. But I'd have to give it to them. They really just like movement. There was a lot of unselfishness last night in the game, and just the physicality. Like all week in practice, we've been working on contact and stuff like that. So just going up against some bigger girls, I knew I had to get contact in there. Got a couple and one. So that was
How in the world do you guys one up the defense that you guys played last year? That's the big question, because it was record-breaking performances. I mean, how do you one up that?
Right. It's a good question. Last year, the girls we lost, they were all around good players, but a lot of their roles was defensively. Like we lost Abby Perry, one of the best defensive players to come through Salem High School. But Riley Hutton knew she had to step up and take that role this year. And Cammie Rome just in the paint. I don't think anybody's getting to the hoop with her in there. And then we just have a lot of offensive ball play, like good players off the ball. Like for example, like I'm more of a help side player, so. And at first, like during our scrimmages and stuff, we were like, all right, we got to get this defense down. And one of our coaches, you probably know George Spack, he harps on defense all the time. So just our speed, I think, really helps us with our defensive game.
You brought up Cammie, and I'm sure you have to go up against her in practice every now and then. I mean, like you look at her, and the size is not like daunting, but the blocking ability is there, and the numbers are there. What makes her such a hard defender to go up against?
Just her heart and her urgency to like be the best she can. In practice when we're going against each other, I'm like, oh great. We always look at each other and we're like enemies. Here we go. But honestly, it's the biggest privilege for me because now I have to figure out how, like even then when I go against somebody in a game, it's a lot easier. And she's just great to have in practice and all. But I don't know, she uses her length, that's for sure.
I'm going to give you a chance to be a little bit of competitiveness inside your squad. Like, who's got the edge when you guys are going up against each other? Who's had the edge in the last couple of years?
Riley and I really bring the best out of in each other. Like, truly, we go at it. But we have Kaylee Carlisle. She's battling 24/7. No matter if she's on the ground, she gets right back up. And I would have to give it to Cammie, too. It's usually me, Cammie, and Rye. We go at it pretty good, and we just bring the best out of each other.
You know, one of the hallmarks of the Salem team, even before last year, for a long time, has been having someone on the floor that was a spark plug or an energy maker, someone that always got you guys up. Last year, it felt like it was always Jenna McClish, right? So this year, who's that spark plug for you guys that is always making sure that the energy and the excitement is up, whether it's on the bench or on the floor?
Right. Absolutely has to go to Zoe Reed. I actually said to my parents last night, my mom was saying how she really stepped up last night and did good in the game. And I said, Mom, she's one of the best teammates I've ever had. Like, she just all around, always making sure you're okay. I mean, sometimes I get down in practice, but as a leader, I try to compose myself a little bit, but I'm still human, so I get down, and she is always right there to pick me up. She's just all around such a good teammate.
Okay, so we talked about some of the things that blocked you mentally as a player, as you know, the knee thing. What about as an athlete, as a student? Excuse me. What are some of the subjects that really you have to work mentally to get through? The hardest subjects in school.
So right now I do college credit plus classes. I do college writing 1 at Kent and an art class. And my college writing class is just really getting to me. I mean, through the week, I'm just constantly doing little by little. And then come Saturday, we usually have early practices like 7, around that time. So I have the rest of the day to figure out my schoolwork because everything's due on Sundays. And then if we have like a game or something, I'll usually just take my Saturday night and do my schoolwork.
What's the hardest thing for you to write? Is it essays? Is it research papers? Creative writing. What gives you the most trouble?
Well, right now, we actually haven't had a paper in our college writing class that hasn't been like political. Like everything's so political, but so that's definitely the hardest part is like, okay, do I side with this or?
Which one do you have the best time at? What's some of your favorite ones that you know you're good at, and I don't want to say you don't have to try as hard, but it comes a little bit easier, natural to you.
Definitely like research papers. I love like learning new things, and I just love like figuring out facts and stuff like that. And then I can put my opinion into it as well. So those are my favorite ones.
All right, with senior season, we have to talk about your future goals. We never want to see you go, but it's going to happen eventually. What kind of things do you see after Salem? See yourself doing?
I really want to go play college ball. I just haven't decided where yet. Just the distance is something that's in my head. Like coming from a big family, it's going to be really hard to leave home. So if I could just get somewhere closer, my dream is to play at YSU. I love the culture. I follow a lot of things they do, and just those girls, their bond, I can tell is really close. But there's a couple teams in like West Virginia and stuff that I've been talking to. So, and Cammie as well, actually. So that would be fun. I told Cammie, I said, if you go, I'll go.
If you go.
But and then for the education part, I think I want to go into dermatology.
It's a package deal, right?
Right. Yeah.
You're recruiting Abby Davidson, you got to recruit Cammie Rome as
Right.
well. There's a certain rival that committed to YSU.
Yeah.
That's something to watch out for too. When you look at programs and when you're looking for coaches, what kind of coaches do you think would really spark your interest? What would you look for in a college coach in a college program?
Just the program overall, just like the bond of the girls, and if they're interacted with each other. Like I don't want to go to a team that's like everybody's kind of separated and we're just teammates when we're on the court. Like I want to be close off the court, and I can just tell from like the YSU girls just following them and stuff like that they're not like that. And then for like a coach, I look for somebody that's in like culture, like they want to deal with the culture of the team and just like team bonding and stuff like that, not just basketball 24/7, because chemistry, I believe, really does come from off the court.
Did you say dental hygienist?
What?
When you wanted the career path you wanted to go, did you say dental or did you say dermatology? I couldn't remember which one you said.
I said dermatology.
Dermatology. It was I was gonna say, if it was dental hygiene, I was gonna ask what makes you want to put your hands in other people's mouth, because that takes a special person. But obviously it was dermatology. But what kind of things sparked that interest? What made you want to be like a dermatologist and want to deal with skin?
Really just like there's so much about our skin and our body that we don't know as humans, and we're all just living through it and trying to do all these different skincare routines and stuff like that. And so just as a teenager, like as a girl, we all want clear skin and stuff like that. So then I just started doing a bunch of like research on all types of things, and I was like, wow, I really like enjoy this.
All right, Abby, thank you so much for taking the time today. We wish you the best of luck the rest of your senior season. We know you're going to do great. We look forward to covering you all year, and we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you for having me.
She absolutely did do great all season, and she went on to be our YSN Offensive Player of the Year. And it's funny, she talked in that interview that like her dream was YSU, and there she is. She's putting on the YSU jersey. She is on the team, and she made that dream a reality. Abby Davidson was a pleasure to talk to her. I didn't even remember that was our first interview of the winter. It was our first player profile. You could tell because my interview chops were a little bit rusty too. I hadn't done an interview since the fall. For some reason, she said dermatology, and Anthony heard dental hygienist. I was like, what the world? I listened to that again. Oh, man. Crazy stuff. That's why we relive great memories, right? That's why we relive these awesome player profiles, because we love hearing from these athletes. We're going to make new memories in the fall and in the new winter season, and obviously the whole school year coming up. But we love to dive into the vault, and we'll continue to do that, as we continue to say throughout the whole month of July before we start the new season previews for the new fall sports. We're going to continue to dive into the vault and relive some of the great player profiles that we were able to do and accomplish and conduct, I should say, this last season. So that'll do it for today's show. Want to remind you that we are going to have 4 games on the network tonight. We have 10U softball at the Field of Dreams. Eric Hughes will be on the call. It's going to be Boardman versus Austintown. That will be the elimination game. At 6, the winner moves on to play Canfield in the championship. If Canfield wins, they are your district champions. If Austintown or Boardman, whoever wins that game, wins against Canfield, they will come back on Tuesday for the if necessary game. So let's keep our fingers and toes and everything that we can crossed that by Tuesday we will have a district champion crown, because it has been a long time coming for these 10U girls. They have waited a while to decide who's going to win the district, and we could have it tonight, but by the latest, hopefully, we'll have it tomorrow as a district champion. We also have Palomino baseball at Bob Seam Park. Matt Marr and Jake Barber will both be on the call tonight. Scene 1, 6 and 8 o'clock. So both the same time. They'll line up with each other, so you can open up a couple of screens, watch them both. So enjoy that. Enjoy the rest of the evening. We'll be back tomorrow from 1 to 2 on Running Point. As always, we are brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. We always thank them for their support.